What's up, guys? We are back with another Mythic Legions Poxxus wave review, and today we're taking a look at ZENDE AMAANTHYR. This is another, well, they're all magic users, right? So another magic user in this wave. And this guy I've been really curious about just because of what I've seen other folks do with him, so I'm very interested to take him out and mess with him myself. Of course, he is a standard figure in the line, so he comes in a standard style package. You got him there, of course, in our removable packaging, so you can put him back in if you feel the need to do that. You got him there in the window, Mythic Legions logo down there on the bottom. We've got his faction on one spine, portrait and bio on the other, and then the back of the box continues the theme with the rest of the standard figures, giving us a shot of Poxxus, a cross-sell, and then a write-up for Mythos in general. So let's do it. Let's pull them out and take a look. And here we go, out of the package, our Poxxus wave, ZENDE AMAANTHYR. So this guy is just like a standard figure in every way, shape, and form. Through and through, a 1.0 regular Mythic Legions figure. Not a lot of new parts on this guy either outside of this head sculpt. He is overwhelmingly, if not entirely, Illythia wave parts. This is like a mix between Lord Bardrick and Krotos when it comes to where a lot of these parts are coming from. So let's see what this guy can do, see how he moves around. You know, again, 1.0 figure, so you kind of know what to expect. We've got a head that can look up. Can't really look down because he's got that beard. You've got your tilt. We've got rotation, of course. Arms out at the shoulders. They swivel. We've got our single jointed 90-degree swiveling elbow. You've got gauntlet swivel, wrist swivel, and hinge, of course. And then we've got our single torso piece, so it goes backwards a little bit. Forward, you've got some tilt side to side. You've got your rotation there as well. Legs are going to go out. The skirt piece is cut so that he can kick his legs all the way out. They still kick forward pretty much all the way. It's very flexible. Backwards a little bit. You've got your thigh twist. We've got single jointed knees with rotation, so there's swivel there, just to add a little bit. And then you've got swivel at the top of the ankle, and then you've got rocker, and you've got hinges. There's also a thigh cut up there. So he has everything you expect to see when it comes to Mythic Legions articulation. Normal stuff for a 1.0 figure, but still pretty good range, especially because some of these parts are, of course, newer and have a little bit more added range based on how they're cut. Now, when it comes to the overall look and feel, ZENDE is, well, he's interesting, we'll say that to start with, because he has definitely two different sides. This is him at his most naked, we'll say, which is how I tend to talk about Legions from a visual perspective first. And in this instance, I don't find him all that exciting. He does have a pretty wild mix of parts, though, so if you're a pop and swap guy, this might be kind of ripe for the picking when it comes to how you might want to use some of these parts, because these aren't exactly the most common colors in Legions. He has a very red set of, well, we'll say leather armor, right? And this, of course, is the Krotos armor, which means this is a removable chest plate. So if you're into that system and what that's capable of, you can pop that chest plate out and swap it or get a custom piece. But he's also got a lot of fabric on him as well, because like I said, this is Illythia wave stuff. Maybe the entire figure, right? I'd have to go back and double check everything, but maybe the entire figure except for the head sculpt. So he's got, you know, fabric for, well, plastic, but fabric for the arms and the forearms, the bicep area. And it's this sort of very different mustard yellow color, which is not a common thing to see in this line. And then he's also got these, you know, by contrast, very bright blue pants. So more fabric parts, if you're into swapping that stuff around, that is kind of a clashing color. Blue does clash pretty well with warm colors, so it does work. It's not so out there that it looks out of place, but it is very different when it comes to Legions. He looks infinitely cooler once we get him fully kitted out, so that's kind of where he's like two different things for me. I feel like his parts definitely work. They're kind of odd if you don't put everything on him, and we'll get to that. But I think this is a pretty solid mix of parts. I like this very coppery color that we've got for the shin guards and the bracers. I love the Krotos torso, so I'm really happy to see this in a different color. I'm very happy with that. And then he does have a very cool head sculpt. It's easily the focal point for this figure because, well, for one, we don't have a lot of black characters in the line. So this is another instance of them adding some variety and getting something a little bit different out there that, you know, maybe hasn't been that prevalent. So it's nice to get another one. And then it's also just a really solid looking head sculpt. This dude looks like he means serious business. And even his bio kind of makes it out to seem like he is definitely a little bit more than meets the eye in some ways. That sounds weird. It's not a Transformers review, but he definitely may be a little bit more powerful than he might let on, especially because his bio says he's not from Mythos, which is even weirder. So he's got a very no-nonsense kind of expression. He's got a very bushy but short beard, which I like, so that's a little bit different. And then there's a lot of great gray dry brushing in there to bring that out. One thing I really have to kind of harp on with this figure is the eyes. These might be some of the best painted eyes I've seen on a Legions figure in some time. Everything just continues to get better in this line. Like there's no way to sugarcoat it. Everything continues to get better when it comes to sculpt and detail and paint applications. And these eyes, I think, are incredibly well done. It's small, it's not the biggest deal, but it makes an impactful difference when you're really up close to this guy. So I'm really happy with the way this head sculpt turned out, and it definitely accentuates the figure through and through. Now, as far as accessories go, ZENDE has a lot of different stuff, and that's very much a theme for the Poxxus wave. Cloaks, pauldrons, heads, hands, effects, weapons. He's got like one of everything. So this is him fully kitted out. I've got the pauldrons on him, I've got the alt head, and I've got his cloak. And I really like this cloak. This royal, bright, vibrant blue works really well in contrast to some of these reds and yellows, and it also ties him together really nicely with these pants. The cloak itself is fully wired across the entirety of the front to the back, so you can get it up and you'll have it billowing behind him. It does pose really well. The wire seems to hold very nicely, and then he's also got a wired hood as well, which will allow you to, have it over his head, but it also allows you to push it back if you want to have it just sort of billowing behind him or where he's, disrobed a little bit. I really like this. Absolutely going to be my favorite way to display this figure, no doubt. And then we've got our alternate head sculpt here, which is the same head, it's the same sculpt, but it's painted differently. And I really like this direction that they've taken with some of the figures in this wave. So this has the kind of blanked out pupils. So he's got blue pupils, and then he's got this sort of magic emblem on his forehead, which kind of showcases his power. So instead of giving us, like a more expressive face, this is a different way to do it with the same tooling, which I actually really like. This gives me kind of an idea of his power, what he's doing, without actually having a bunch of other stuff hanging off of him. So this is probably my preferred head sculpt. I really like this for any of the figures that come with it in this wave. It's definitely one of my new favorite things for Legions, so I'm really happy with that. And then we've got, and I'll take the cloak off here, and we've got pauldrons on him, so you can of course go this route as well. If you don't want to use the cloak, he does have pauldrons. These are some of the more standard pauldrons, some of the newer standard pauldrons that we've seen lately, but these also tie him together really well in conjunction with the bracers and those shin guards. Now, just like a lot of other figures in this wave, he does include a bunch of hands. He only includes extra gripping hands, but you get 2 sets. So he does have kind of magic-y spellcasting hands, and then you get 2 sets of gripping hands, both horizontal, lateral, and then vertical hinges based on how you want to utilize them. He does include this. As I throw it at him, we've got this big scepter kind of weapon, and there's a lot of cool weapons in this wave, and I really like this. This seems to go with him pretty well. It definitely seems themed to be a little bit more mysterious, and he definitely has like kind of a mysterious origin as well, because his bio says he comes from somewhere other than Mythos. And this kind of has like an ancient Egyptian look and feel to me. It does come apart, if you want to customize it or do something, it does pop apart. I love this little clear bobble in there, if you can like shine a light into that or something when you're taking a picture to make it look energized. But the colors, the paint, the sculpt, all of it, different finishes, like there's golds and coppers, this sort of aquamarine color in there looks really good. Very, very happy with this. I really like this. Easily one of my favorites in the wave so far. And then he also includes magic effects, which is of course a thing for this wave. He's got 3 of these kind of like Doctor Strange looking effects. So you've got a small one, you've got a medium one, and then you've got a really big one. So these can you can put them around his wrist, or you can also kind of wedge his fingers in some of these holes. That's how I've kind of been doing it to make it so they're not just hanging off of him. I do find these to be a little bit difficult to implement at times, but I really like them. And then of course these are also the same effects that we get in the magic effect packs that are included in this wave. These are just his signature blue color. So he does have a lot of different stuff here. Maybe some of this isn't necessarily something you might consider an accessory because you kind of need some of this stuff to make him complete in many ways, but it's not stuff you have to use either. There are a lot of different options. Cloak on, no pauldrons, cloak off with the pauldrons. You can have him, without any of that stuff. So there's a lot of different display possibilities because of that stuff. And then he also includes some really awesome, weapon magic effect type of pieces on top of it. So yeah, overall, I'm really happy with this guy. ZENDE is maybe not the most exciting figure or character on paper, because it's just another 1.0 figure, right? But I still love this body style, and that doesn't really change anything for me, so I'm really happy with the way he turned out. I like seeing these parts in kind of slightly weird, goofy colors, too. But with this figure, it's everything he comes with and how he kind of comes together as a whole. The head sculpts are tremendous. I want to see more of these magic effect heads. I absolutely love that idea. It's implemented very well. The cloak is really well done. It absolutely ties the figure together in a really nice, complete way. And then, of course, we have some really solid effects, and we have a really awesome staff. I can't get over the weapons in this wave. They really outdid themselves by giving the magic heavy wave some very, very magic-inspired weapons, and his is easily one of my favorites. So that's going to do it for this look at the Mythic Legions Poxxus Wave ZENDE AMAANTHYR. Let me know what you guys think. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and until next time.